can hear me. Hi. Hey. I wonder. So I'm trying different things. I'm trying to see my live streaming. Oh, I can see me now. So can you guys see me? Hey. I think there's a time difference a little bit. Guides. So I wonder if this like things like catch up. Ah, こんばんは. Will. Hi, Will. こんばんは. Today I'm doing different things. Like I have my iPod here, and so I can like see the comments here as well. Oh, hey, hi. Marcus, hi. Oh, I think YouTube start catching up. Hey guys. I think there's like a little bit of time difference. Like I never really see myself in my iPad before. But aloha from Hawaii, Nelson. Hi, aloha. Hi. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump right in. Hi. The Earl of Porridge. Hi. Oh, hi. Hello from Thailand. Hi. George. Hi. Hello, George. Okay, so it's 11 p.m. as I announced. So I'm gonna get into the topic that I want to talk about. So as I title, like, is Akonbanwa Japan is sure Japan is safe? Yeah. So I want to talk about if Japan actually safe. Hi from Germany. Hi, Nick. And the answer, you decide. So I have actually 3 things I want to talk about today. So first thing, so it's winter in Japan, and I just realized that there is a big delay, and this is so distracting. I have my iPod down here, but it's very distracting. Safe from what? Safe in general. In general, I'm going to talk about it. So in Japan, it's winter now, and come to Paris and you will understand how safe it's Japan. I've never been to Paris, or I actually never been to Europe, but I've heard a story about Paris before, so yeah, kind of a little scared about Paris, but well, so I think it might be a little different from what you guys are expecting, but so in winter, this winter especially, we had a hit by a very bad snowstorm, especially in northern part of Japan. I live in the southern part of Japan, and we rarely have snow. I think we only had like 1 or 2 days that snowed a little bit, but just like a little bit. And then kids get so excited when they see a little bit of snow. But northern part of Japan, they actually suffered from heavy snow. They expect maybe 2 meter high of like snow every winter, but I think it was like a lot more than that. And what scary thing is that the past 3 months, I think it's 3 months, yeah, past 3 months, in total of 45 people got killed by snow. How scary is that? They're either like, walking outside, or they are trying to, shovel the snow, and they got killed by snow. And mostly they are all elderly people, but still, being killed by snow, that's kind of scary. And Japan, I don't know, I've never really been to northern part of Japan. I've only been to Aomori once, and then I went to Hokkaido once. But they don't have a like a good way to shovel and then like shovel snow away for some reason. So they even like use like a little broom and stuff. Yeah, so it's very low ticky. Anyway, so that's one thing. And it's kind of like a natural disaster. Oh, like a couple years ago, I think I made a video about it, so like you guys know, but Ehime has even hit by the very heavy not snow, rain during summer. So I think the high precipitation is kind of one of the scary thing in Japan, that we have a like many like small streams and whatnot. So it often floods, and it's, yeah, the natural disaster wise, Japan can be one of the worst countries in on the earth. And especially like I talked about snow, and then like also, okay, I'm gonna read some comments though. Sorry, like I know like you guys are talking about it. Uh Stormy weather some days ago. Yeah, I think it's like everywhere now. uh yeah. Oh, you're from Canada, Will? Yeah, I think like people who are like from Canada, like you guys know how to like deal with snow. I think better than Japanese people. I think, because like, okay, I'm gonna talk about myself. So I'm living in this like southern part of Japan that have no snow basically. So if I have to go through like a heavy storm, heavy snow, or even like an icy road, I don't even know how to drive. I don't even know how to put the chain on the tire. So that's how bad Japanese people are, and it's not just me. And so we don't really know how we have to handle ourselves around snow. And yeah, and not only snow and then like heavy rain and stuff, but also Japan is a very like volcanic country. So we have to follow some like volcanic like alerts if you are living near volcanoes, and they are everywhere. Luckily, we don't have any volcanoes in Shikoku, but like I just like read an article the other day that Mount Ontake has been kind of being little dangerous at the moment. So they raised the like alarming system, and they are actually having a little bit of like tremors. Like what? How many times did they say? Like in one day, like just in 1 hour, between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. I don't know when exactly, on Wednesday. Yeah, and they had like 80 tremors in 1 hour. That's kind of scary, huh? And we actually did have like a semi big earthquake about a month ago. It was, I think it was like in the ocean between Shikoku and Kyushu, but yeah, like even though we know that we are safe, that like because we are living in that like like very strong house, but still it's kind of scary. You never know how big the earthquake will be, and then like suddenly like your phone goes off like beep 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 and stuff like that, and it's like is it coming? So yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna read some. Okay, I'm gonna talk about like my accent and stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about accent. But I was gonna say. So, well, actually, that's kind of like one thing. Natural disaster risk. Yeah, Japan is pretty small country, but like most of it is on the mountains. So like if you have heavy rains, and then we might have like landslides, and you have to worry about so many things, and so it's a little, yeah. And also, okay, this is a big one. This is a big one. So you might know by now that like I own a English school, and then also a Tsunami. Ever seen a Tsunami? No, I've never seen Tsunami. that's one of the reasons why I live in Matsuyama. So like we have a Matsuyama city. Matsuyama is the capital city of Ehime, and Ehime is located in a island called Shikoku, and that's basically facing towards a like Hiroshima or Okayama or like Osaka, if you know any, if you can draw a map in your head, yeah. So we are facing to the like a inland sea. So even if we have a big earthquake, the tsunami doesn't come around to hit us. So we are safe in that sense. But there are, I will say, like all of the prefecture that's facing towards the Pacific Ocean, they will expect a lot, like, high tsunami if we ever experience like, massive earthquake. So still dangerous. But the door, yeah, this door is really, really tiny door. It's like, I think it's like about a meter and like 130 centimeters tall. It's really a tiny door for little people. It's a loft. That's why. It's just a storage. Anyway, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about is that so I own a school. Like I completely forgot the word I was talking about, but I own a school and I also own a cram school. And I mainly focus teaching on kids from like 2 to like 18. And this news is very shocking to me. I kind of knew, but I never knew in details. But I'm gonna just read the title of the news. Japan aims to block sex offenders from jobs in schools and childcare. What do you think about that? I'm just gonna wait if anybody. Do you have any comments? What surprised me the most is that the next, like, I'm gonna read one more sentence. The first sentence of this article. Japan is, yeah, I know it's good, but listen. Japan is considering requiring those who want a job in childcare or education to submit proof that they are not convicted sex offenders. They are considering that. So, oh, hi from Tokushima. Empty Giri, hi. But, like, they didn't before? I kind of knew because I hire people, and so I have to go through job interviews and whatnot. And so I kind of went through what kind of questions that I can ask and then what question I cannot ask, because I don't want to offend the other person. I don't want my job interview to be illegal. And then I found one thing that you can never ask that person if he or she have committed a crime before. And I was like, okay. That's kind of scary because like they will be around kids. I mean, like I never let them just be with kids by themselves. I'm already always there. But sometimes like there are two schools next to each other. So I'll be in like roommate, and then my employees and the kids are in the next room. That could happen. And so I was like, I kind of want to know. But I guess that's illegal in Japan. And I saw that news, I'm like, oh, that's good, right? But then I saw the first sentence, like, they're considering. Yeah, so that's kind of scary. Is this after a jail sentence? I think so. I think like, when they are, because like at the end of the article, it's I don't know, maybe this is like Japanese thing, but there is a word from a professor, maybe a famous professor or something. Then he's like very he knows way around like criminal laws and stuff, and then he says the whole system of like reporting if you have been a sex offender before or not. The whole system could lead to the offender becoming a social outcast. So they are still considering the people who have offended, like who have committed a crime, like sex crime before, over children. Yeah. So I was like, as a person who is involved in the education, I was like, really, Japan? So yeah, that's my thoughts. So in that sense, Japan cannot be the safest country. I'm gonna read some like comments though. Okay. Hi from Jordan. Hi. Mahad? Mahad? Hi. Would you want to teach my daughter? She's 13. I can. I have many 13-year-olds. I saw a news piece. I saw a news piece recently that reported that women are getting better grades than males applying to medical school. Oh, that. Oh, okay. That actually how can I explain? So it became a big problem. Like Tokyo University and those, famous ones, like smart ones, right? And I don't know if it was actually Tokyo University. I'm not sure, but one of those like big, famous ones, and especially medical department, they admitted maybe a year or 2 years ago that if there are two people who have same grades and the same score on the test, and they would choose male over female. The reason behind this is because medical school is very long, like 6 years in like school and then 2 years at the hospital, blah blah blah. So the quickest way to get a license and be able to actually work as a doctor will be maybe right before 30 or something like that. And in Japan, women are considered to get married and then have kids around like 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. And so the medical school mostly prefer male because they would stick with school longer and they would actually start working as a doctor after they finish the whole course more than female. And then they officially admitted that they were doing so a couple years ago. And now it's not like, well, but now they have to, kind of like adjust it. So I've heard that news that like this year or last year, like since this year, there are more female students are getting into because they get good grades, or I don't know, whatever the reason, that they are more likely to get into a medical school more than boys. That's really not a good reason, assuming the women's lifestyle choices. Yeah, Japan is kind of like still narrow-minded about the whole like marriage and like having a family and things like that. As a female, I think it's kind of difficult to get a career. You can, but that's kind of like trade-off, kind of. Now, I'm not saying like for everyone, but if you are looking to become like a lawyer or a doctor or some career that's very time consuming, then in Japan it's not common for hiring like I'm not gonna say like a maid, but like get some help to do some chores in the house or raise kids. Like babysitting is not really a thing in Japan. So still there is some sort of like a stereotype that female has to kind of take care of the kids and then do the housework, and while male kind of go out and then do their job. So now like a lot of like mothers and then wives go out and then they get a career, but it's kind of hard to keep both. Uh, we love Japan. Thank you. Let's see. Glad to see some positive change towards gender equality in Japan. Yeah, they are working on it still, but I don't know. I honestly don't know about that part because, like, yeah, I deal with like a lot of like families because of my job, but still, I think there is a little wiggle room. It's kind of, I think it's just like the thing that, like, if Japanese people start accepting the fact that, like, if they, that it's okay to hire somebody to do, take care of their kids or like do the housework and stuff. Yeah. Oh well. uh, ah, hello, Shiori-san. Thank you. Hi. Hello, Francis. Let's see. Sorry, I'm going through the comments. Oh, so going back to the sex offender story, isn't there some sort of registry for sex offenders in Japan? Surprisingly, not really. I know. I think there's like a list or something, like a record that somebody's got caught and then, like, you know, charged with a criminal offense for sure. But you know, like in America, if you're like a especially sex offender, and like I'm not like an expert, so like I might be wrong, but um like there is a restriction that if you committed those crimes, and then for example you can't live near like park or school, or I've heard like you have to go, like you have to kind of like notify people, kind of something like that. And but in Japan there's no such thing, so you really never know, and you are not allowed to ask. So yeah. Okay, so I was gonna like avoid this, but I'm just gonna talk about it. Uh, deplorable Akira. Chikan watch list. Yeah, Chikan is the very Japanese thing, I think. Like, not, it doesn't happen often in the countryside because we don't really take trains and buses and stuff. But I've heard that it happens a lot in city area because it's very crowded. And then, like, I have been to Tokyo many times, but like I never imagined the crowded means that crowded in on the train. And well, maybe it's gotten a lot better because of the COVID, like, you know, social distancing and stuff. But before COVID, it was like, you know, we're like pushing against each other, you know. Um, but it's very tricky because sometimes, like, you know, it actually happens, but like some other time that girls trick the guy, and even if he didn't do anything, she just screamed that like he's a chican or something like that in order to get money. And I've heard that if you're a guy and if you are in those situations, if you try to explain yourself, it's not a good idea. Yeah, in that case, women have more power for some reason. So nowadays, like, they try to change that whole system because a lot of time, like, the guys haven't really like offended a crime, like, you know, didn't do jikam, but like they were uh tricked into uh tricked into like that situation by those girls, and then like they sometimes like in a group, and they have like a one girl, and then there are like a couple of guys, and then they take you to like a back alley, and then they beat you the shit out of it, and then you like they try to get money from you kind of deal. So like yeah, so Chikani is another story. Yeah, so it's not necessarily the guys did something though. Do I like Rolex? No. No, I don't. Anyway, so I haven't really said anything, but like as I say, I'm gonna do like a weekly live streaming from now on. So that is the time good for you guys? Like it's 11 o'clock in Japan, and I know like towards the late night will be better for you guys. And I want to keep it short, so I'll give you guys like less than an hour, maybe like about an hour or two, and I've set up the timer. And so when timer goes off, and then I'll have like 5 more minutes, and then yeah, and then we will continue the next week. That's what I'm planning on right now. It's 3:24 in France. 3:24. Okay. Yeah, the time difference is really hard. Oh, this girl, the girl saying chicken thing kind of happened to me in Osaka, where she was like giving me money or else creams. Oh, wow, okay. So when I started speaking English, she found out that I'm a foreigner. She went, "Oh, that's good. That's good." So if use that trick. I didn't know that would work. But I heard like a lot of Japanese people cannot speak English, and then they got frightened by English speaker. So if you can speak English or any other language for that matter, and then they will just usually go away. How's the situation in Ehime nowadays? Back to normal? The COVID cases kind of stays the same. After Omicron hit, we have about 250 to 300 new cases every day. That's kind of a lot for Ehime though, but we're not as freaking out as before. I guess because like, we kind of knew what kind of symptoms we would get. So nothing stopped, like we didn't have to close a like school or anything like that. So I guess like we kind of stopped tracking the number actually. Like we hear the news, but like yeah, 270 today, 250 today, like 300 today, yeah, something like that. Good question. Do you advise for a foreigner to live in Ehime or Tokyo? I would say try living in Tokyo first. Because, like, it's the biggest city in Japan, everything happens. And I think it's a good place to live. And after living there a while, you might like it. You might not like it. And when you find yourself not liking living in Tokyo, then you should consider coming to Ehime. Because Ehime is like kind of far away from Tokyo. They have to take a plane and stuff. But Matsuyama City, it is the capital city of Ehime. We have 50,000, 500,000 people population-wise. So we call it countryside, but it's not countryside. So, but if you straight come to Matsuyama from where you are from, then you might find it a little, I don't know, boring. I don't know if it's like boring, but it's kind of mellow here. Everything's kind of slow. We have like everything that we need to live, But if you don't know, if you don't experience how expensive living in Tokyo is, you can't appreciate the life here. So live in Tokyo first and then move down to Ehime if you want. Do you ever want to live in different country or stay in Japan forever? I'm open. I'm very open. But I don't want to be selfish here that like, okay, I don't feel like living in Japan anymore. So I'm just going to close off my school and I'm just going to dump all the business I've been building up and then I'm just going to move to America or I'm going to move to Europe or like, if I ever want to live another country, and then I would probably make my company even bigger and hire people so that I don't have to be here to operate it on day-to-day basis, and I would keep running the business from other country. If you want to live in Shikoku, a car or motorcycle is must. Plus some sort of Japanese fluency with remote work and Amazon. It's easier to live in the countryside compared to 15 years ago. Yeah, that's true. And like as I said, like Matsuyama is not that countryside. So but you might want a motorcycle, like a scooter type at least. Maybe that might be better. But we do have buses and trains. I mean more like trams. So if you're actually living downtown Matsuyama, you don't even need a car. And then if you have a driver's license, and then when you want to go actually out of the city, then you can just rent a car. That's a lot cheaper. Owning a car in Japan is very expensive. You have to pay for a car inspection every other year, and then each one costs you like $1,000 without like not fixing anything. It's just like a checkup money, checkup fee. It's ridiculous. 私は日本行ったら、今年私は日本に行ったら愛媛に行きたいな。ぜひ来てください。ぜひぜひ。I want to cycle the Seto Sea. Yeah, that's really good. Did I cycle? No, I didn't cycle, but I have walked. You can also walk the bridge, and you can also cycle. And then there's you can rent one, and yeah, I think Charlotte and Chris did, and they loved it. So yeah, you should do that. Nihongo 大丈夫です。イエーイ。The cards are rubbish anyway. Trains rules. Well, yeah. If there are enough trains though. Yeah, it's not like Tokyo. Oh, you cycled Shimanami Kaido? Yeah, it's a nice bridge, right? It's a nice view and ocean and like the little, islands. Yeah. I'm gonna go up a little bit. Sorry. Yeah, when you go out of the bigger cities, the number of English speakers drastically drops. You should be at least barely conversational in Japanese before even considering living in the inaka. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But okay, so I lived in America for in total of 3 years, and first time was in Hawaii, and the second time was in Missouri. And everyone liked Hawaii better. And if you have a choice, you would choose Hawaii. And if I have to choose now, then I probably choose Hawaii just because it's Hawaii, But in order to, like, if you are actually living in that country, like foreign country, if you get the opportunity to live in another country, and you should definitely choose Inaka if you can, the countryside, because if you're surrounded by the people who can speak English, then you get lazy because like we are all human. So if that's one of the thing I tried myself when I was studying abroad. I was trying to go to as like to the place where inaka is possible. And the first one, I couldn't choose myself. I could only choose a country where I wanted to go because that's the organization's policy. And so first I chose the U.S. and then the organization put me to a in Hawaii, and I kind of hated it. I actually called them, saying like, no, I don't want to go to Hawaii. Like seriously. I mean, like after all, like Hawaii's like environment is really nice. Like we got a nice ocean, like food is good, and then all that. So I ended up liking Hawaii, but for like learning like language and the culture and then all those things, it's better to go to Inaka to kind of like force yourself to learn the culture and then interact with locals and things like that.今日本は観光客に開放されていますか？してないと思います。おそらく来月かな ?3 月くらいからビジネスは OK になるはずです。The borders has not been hasn't been lifted completely. If you're a Japanese citizen, you can come in, and you have to take at least like 4 or 5 times on PCR tests, and then also you have to stay in the hotel for like a couple days, even if if you are proven negative, and you have to be like quarantined, right? But if you are not a resident of Japan, you cannot, because I have a friend of mine is running a English school as well, just like me, and she also runs a Korean language school, and so she decided to hire a person in Korea, and she's on hold for like a year. And according to her, the border will be lifted for business purposes next month, hopefully. And so for travel purposes, probably not anytime soon. Yeah, if you really want to go deep in the culture and the language, so go Inaka. It will become a matter of survival soon enough. That is true. That is true. But I don't know. I kind of like to live in an Inaka. Yeah. If I go to the city, I might like it, but like everyone will be like, if I say like, oh, I lived in New York or I lived in California, and then there are many people who did that, and then like it's kind of like for Japanese people, like if you have money, you can go to those like universities in the West Coast and stuff. So I want to be like, I always want to fit in, so I prefer the countryside. I mean, it was kind of hard in the sense that like there was no public transportation. So whenever I need to go shopping, I either have to walk for like 30 minutes one way, to the nearest supermarket, or I would call up my friend and like, hey, can you take me to the Walmart? So, but I think that would just force me to make friends and, communicate with them. So I think that helps. Are there even sheep in Japan? That's an interesting question. I think so. I think. My Japanese high school, I also went to Japanese high school, and my high school had sheep. We had sheep. At first, we only had one sheep, and then somehow we got another sheep, and then I think eventually, and then they had baby, so eventually there were three sheep, and then yeah, and sheep in your class, no, like they are just like wandering around, and then we have a like little like grassy area, and they are usually like walking around eating grass, and then like during we are like taking like exam and stuff, and then like the sheep goes bah, and then we all laugh. Yeah, it's a really weird high school. Yeah. Japanese sheeps, very polite sheeps that bows to say hello. Hello. No, they don't. They really don't. You have to be careful, like, cause like sometimes like we take them to the mountains, and you cannot face away, when the sheep is around, especially the male sheep. They will just back up a little bit, and then they come towards you, at like full speed to just knock you down. So you gotta be careful. Everyone's talking about sheep. Like the deer in Nara. Yeah, like a deer in Nara. The deers in Nara, they are very polite. But did you know that if you don't give the food right after they bow, they actually attack you? So there is like a specific instruction before you actually go out to the park, that the guide would say like you have to give them food. So dangerous sheep. What other animals at high school? In my high school, okay, so so my high school has transformed from a agriculture high school. And okay, so my high school is called Ehime University Senior High School. And before I went, the high school was only attached to Ehime University's agriculture department. So most of the classes they did was somehow related to agriculture. That's why for the part of agriculture classes, they had sheep, and then they had chickens, and then they have something else. But they transformed from just attached to agriculture department to belong to all the departments, including like medical school and then like whatnot. And so they basically became kind of like a new school, but they used the same campus. So they kept the sheep, and then they also kept the chicken. So yeah, so we had those kind of animals. Okay. I think I covered the most thing. I said that I was gonna answer the question about like why I have American accent before, and yes, one, I went to America and lived there for 3 years. Yeah, that's one thing. But at the same time, I took English lessons since I was 3 years old. So my pronunciation straightly came from whoever the teacher. How old is Sherry Y? I am 29 years old. So yeah, so basically I picked up the pronunciation when I was young, and then there's one time right before I went to Hawaii, I decided to take part in the English speech contest, and there I have a very good English teacher at high school, and he told me he basically kind of like corrected my pronunciations a little bit, because uh, I had multiple teachers along the way. So some of them are American, some of them are British, and so I pronounce in the American accent certain words, and I used to say like can't and stuff instead of can't, because it just like mixed up. And so my pronunciation basically got fixed in American way when I participated in the speech contest. And then I went to America, so yeah. Do you have Bitcoin? No, I don't have Bitcoin. I don't do that. Hawaii accent is really cool. Yeah, I think so. Um, are there a lot of foreigners at work in Ehime? I think so. I feel like I see more foreigners working in Ehime compared to before. Because, like, before, running into foreigners was kind of like a surprising thing. I mean, it still is, I think. But every elementary school, junior high school has a ALT, assistant language teacher. Those are, they're all foreigners. And even at the convenience store, though, we started to have, like, it's a typical thing in big cities nowadays, but like, lately we started having a foreigners working in convenience store in Ehime as well. I don't know. I don't know about the about after COVID though. Maybe some of them went back home. Um. Ooh. What is favorite and least favorite thing about Japan? Okay, favorite thing about Japan is that I think ooh so 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. I will say my favorite thing about Japan is that everywhere is clean. It doesn't matter whether like city itself and then the like street and stuff, and like if you go to the mall it's very clean, and then if you go to the bathroom that's clean. Everywhere is like spotless, right? And the least favorite thing is people. um like people are basically nice, but people are not interesting as much. I blame for the education that we have to sit quietly during class and we all just listen to the teacher talking. And so we are not basically allowed to speak up our minds. And so I kind of feel like the Japanese education is just like kind of grooming a almost like a robot, follow the direction without questioning the method and the like, system, and I'm not that kind of person, so I was like, nope. I guess I want to work in Japan someday. Yeah, work. I'm actually looking for a I don't know if I should say this here, but like I am open to hire people now. Yay! So if you're interested, you can send me email. Shoot me an email. The email address is down below. Interesting answer to what? The favorite and least favorite. Yeah. It's kind of funny because like I'm considered very quiet when I go to America, and I consider as like very loud and outgoing in Japan. So what's your favorite Japanese word? Okay. Japanese word. I don't know if it's like my favorite, but like useful Japanese is sumimasen and yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Those are very like convenient. If you want to say thank you, if you want to say sorry, like you can just say sumimasen. Like it's the same thing for Japanese people. We never say arigato. So don't say arigato gozaimasu. It sounds weird. So when somebody hold the door for you, say sumimasen. When somebody like pick up something that you drop and it's like sumimasen, you can say sumimasen for everything. And yoroshiku onegaishimasu is like when you want to be polite. When you met somebody for the first time, and then when you're, moving towards the work together, or, dropping off your kids at the daycare, whatever. You can say like, yoroshiku onegaishimasu. So that's very easy. All right. So I feel like that would be it. Is there any like quick questions that I can answer? Yeah, don't say arigato. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad to say arigato. It just sounds a little bit weird for Japanese people. Oh, and the other thing is that when you go into like a convenience store or any other shop in Japan, people would say irashaimase. Irashaimase, irashaimase. But as a Japanese person, what you do is that you ignore them. Yep, you ignore them. You don't even make eye contact. You can just bow a little bit, but you don't make eye contact. You don't say anything. You don't say hi. You don't say irashaimase back. You just ignore them. So that's the manner in Japan. All right, I have one more minute. Okay, this is the last question. When is next live? Next week, next Saturday, around this time, same time. So, yeah. Actually, I'm so happy that like the comments kept coming, and then I constantly have like 30 to 40 people watching, and I love to go, over 2 hours, 3 hours. I can go like longer, but I want to save it for next week, and I will see you guys. Yeah, I will see you guys next week. Yeah, I'm saying the same thing twice, but yeah, see you later. See you next week. Yep. So if you have any other questions, if I miss any comments, come back next week and we're gonna talk. All right. So thank you for coming and watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye. Bye. Bye.